Not a big fan for athletes. Every person is different when it comes to what they need to be putting into their body on a daily basis, and if it, is if weight loss is a factor, what they need to do for weight loss. So every person is different. But when it comes to adolescent athlete and specifically swimmer, right? Because we're both swim coaches, I don't really recommend following any sort of special diet unless it's a medical diet, for example, gluten-free. Right. Vegetarian, vegan, it can be done. I know Game Changers, super popular documentary on Netflix right now that really promotes a plant-based vegan type of diet.
It also gets trashed pretty heavily too. So there's just a lot of conflicting information out there.
There is, and again, my plug to be an informed consumer, especially when it comes to nutrition education. It's just one of those things where because everybody eats, everybody thinks they're an expert. And especially, in our age of social media and sort of like the Fitspo, if you will, these fitness professionals on Instagram, touting their body results. And I, did X, Y, and Z. Oftentimes you're going to see that they're almost eliminating an entire food group. And as a dietitian, I say anytime any sort of diet that's being advertised wants you to eliminate an entire food group, that's a huge red flag. Huge red flag. These athletes, if anything, you can go onto Google for anybody who's going to be listening to this and type in the athlete's plate. That is an infographic that's put out by the dietitians.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, at the IOC. And that's really the only thing I recommend my athletes follow. It's going to give you the breakdown. It's kind of a spin off the My Plate from the USDA, which is another absolutely awesome visual. It's much better than the food pyramid that I grew up learning from. You probably grew up learning from as well. Yeah, that was not the best visual to have. My Plate, much better. The Athlete's Plate, especially for swimmers, is a really, really good tool. If you're a coach just looking, to have some really basic guidance to give your swimmers on nutrition, I would say start there.
I don't remember. Do they have vegetarian and vegan plates?
They do not have vegetarian and vegan plates. And when it comes to vegetarian, vegan, as a coach, so I kind of have to put on, I have to separate my two hats, right? My dietitian hat and my coaching hat. As a coach, I would want to know, why is this athlete choosing to become vegetarian or vegan? Is it because they, watch something that they're going to take all that information as fact? Is it because of sort of like moral, ethical reasons in terms of like animal welfare? So get to the bottom of, what's the impetus of them wanting to change their, really overhaul their eating pattern. And then as a coach, I would recommend to that athlete and the parents that they then seek out the help of a professional or a dietitian. Right. Because there are some certain things that if you aren't really focused on following a vegetarian or vegan diet, you could be missing out on key nutrients. B12 is one that so it doesn't mean that athletes can't be highly successful on a vegetarian vegan diet. There's certainly a number of athletes out there competing at an extremely high level that follow this type of plant-based diet. They also have a whole team of people sort of like in their arsenal at their call that they can go to seek help. So any athlete that wants to do that, I would say just go to your doctor, go to a dietitian, get a little bit of help.